Welcome to this open day about modern languages here at the University of Oxford. My name is Philip Bullock and I'm Professor of Russian Literature and Music here. I'm currently also Chair of the Subfaculty of Russian and Other Slavonic Languages, and it's in this capacity that I'm delighted to be giving this introductory talk. We hope that this pre-recorded video and the others made available will give you a good idea of the courses and options on offer here. We hope too that you'll have a chance to ask any questions during the discussion sessions. Now, in this introduction, I'll be touching on four main areas. Firstly, the courses available here in Oxford, focusing mainly on Russian. We also offer degree programs in Czech with Slovak and options in Polish. So if you're interested in those languages, and I very much hope that you will be, please do watch the talk given by Professor Rajendra Chitnis dealing with the other Slavonic languages in greater detail. Secondly, I'll talk about the structure of the course here and the wide range of options available. Thirdly, I'll make some comments about the interview process and say something about what we're looking for in applicants. Finally, I'll have a few words to say about career destinations and the things you can do with a degree in Russian, Czech, with Slovak and Polish. So if you're interested in studying Russian, the first question to resolve is whether you should apply for course A or course B. It's straightforward to remember which is which. A is for A-level or equivalent, B is for beginner. Course A is for those with A-level or equivalent in Russian. Here you can study Russian either on its own, or in conjunction with another modern European language, or with another subject, so be it history, Middle Eastern languages, philosophy, classics, English, or linguistics. Course B is a beginner's Russian course, which is available for students who've not had the opportunity to study the language at school. So beginning with course B, here are some important things to bear in mind. In course B, Russian is only available with another modern European language studied to A-level or equivalent. It follows, therefore, that you cannot apply for course B to study Russian on its own, or for the joint courses with history, Middle Eastern languages, philosophy, classics, English, or linguistics. The course is not available for applications for deferred entry. The first year of the course is devoted to intensive language learning with some introduction to the study of literature. We don't recommend that students embark on the study of the language independently, although obviously you will need to have done enough research in advance to know that this is the course for you. The second year is spent in Russia on a tailor-made 8-month course in Yaroslavl. This is a compulsory feature of the course and is available just for Oxford students. If you are applying for course A, that is the post-A-level course, then you have rather more options available to you. You could study Russian on its own on the Russian Sol course, and in the first year this would involve extra papers in Polish, comparative Slavonic philology and cinema. You could also combine your Russian with another modern European language, Czech with Slovak, French, German, modern Greek, Italian, Portuguese or Spanish. Of those, they are all available for beginners apart from French and Spanish. Alternatively, you could combine your Russian with another degree subject, with English, with classics, with modern history, with philosophy, with a Middle Eastern language, and those are Hebrew, Arabic, Turkish, and Persian, or linguistics. We also offer other Slavonic languages. It's possible to study Czech with Slovak to degree level, either in combination with Russian, or with another modern European language, or as a joint school, so English, classics, modern history, philosophy, Middle Eastern language, or linguistics. But Czech with Slovak is not available on its own. Polish is available as a subsidiary subject from the second year for all candidates taking any modern European language on its own. And there is some preparatory study of Polish in the first year. Complete beginners may be admitted for both of these languages. And we also offer other Slavonic languages later on in the course, but not as independent subjects, but as individual papers, that's what we call subjects here, taught for finals. So let me say a few words about the course structure. And here you see set out in front of you Course A and Course B and the way they operate across the 4 years of the degree course. In the first year, all students take what we call prelims, preliminary examinations. These are qualifying exams for either post-A-level or beginners. And at the end of the first year, you take a series of written papers. There is no choice about what you study in the first year. This first year gives you a strong foundation in the study of language, but also literature and other subjects to prepare you for the rest of the course. In year 2, you embark on what's called FHS, Final Honour School. For the post-A-level students, you begin that study in year 2, go abroad in year 3, come back to Oxford in year 4, and take your exams at the end of that year. For Course B, you go straight off to Russia in your second year in order to consolidate the language learning that you began in your first year. You then return to Oxford in year 3 and then go straight into year 4, taking finals at the same time as the other course admitted in the same year as you. So the two courses operate slightly differently in terms of what you do when, particularly the year abroad, but you all arrive at the same point. And students on Course B take the very same exams as the students who embarked on Course A at the end of 4 years. Now, in FHS, there is more choice than there was in prelims, and you can develop new interests as well as study many of the things that you thought you might be able to study before you began the course. One other thing to say is that if you are studying Russian and a Middle Eastern language, your year abroad will also be in the second year. And you would typically go off to a country where they spoke Arabic, Persian, Hebrew, or Turkish for that. So what might you study here? Well, throughout the course, from the first year through to the final year, language forms around 50% of what you do. The first year language course is designed to improve your command of grammar, to broaden your vocabulary, and you'll also receive tuition in the spoken language. And that goes for both post-A-level and beginners students. In the final year examinations, you'll be assessed in a range of oral and oral skills as well as written exercises, and these will be taught rigorously and regularly throughout all of the course. So language is central to what we do here, and you'll spend a lot of your week refining, perfecting, extending your linguistic skills. These linguistic skills are important in their own right. We want you to be excellent linguists in both written and oral contexts. But the study of language also facilitates the study of the other important part of the Oxford course, and that's literature. Studying the language enables you to read in the original, to read complex works of a variety of periods in Russian or in the other Slavonic languages studied here. And the study of those works in the original reinforces your language skills by reading complex works in a variety of genres from a range of historical periods. Your language skills will be really stretched and reinforced too. So the post-A-level Russian course begins with 3 terms of intensive study of literary works by Derzhavin, Pushkin, Lermontov, Blok, Chekhov, Akhmatova and Dovlatov, taking us from the 18th century right through to the second half of the 20th century. And these texts will introduce you to the sweep of Russian literature and history, but will also introduce you to the formal study of literary texts, if that's something you haven't done at all or only done a small amount of before. If you are studying on the beginner's course, you won't be studying any literature in the first year, but there will be a chance to do some reading of a selection of poetic texts, which will show you quite how far you've come in your study of Russian in a very short amount of time. For finals, so that's in the second and fourth year for the post-A-level students and in the third and fourth year for the former beginners, students can study a broad range of literature, focusing on studies of the medieval period, the early modern period, or the modern period right up to the present day. We're very proud of the range of authors, periods and approaches we offer here. It's unparalleled in the UK. And we certainly think it's a very distinctive feature of our course and something that our students very much enjoy. As I've said, you can focus on a distinct period of Russian literature. So the medieval period, roughly 1100 to 1700. You can focus on the Enlightenment and the long 18th century and the rule of Peter the Great and Catherine the Great. You can then focus on the study of Russian literature from 1820 right through to the present day and some of the most contemporary literature emerging from Russia itself and from Russian authors not resident in the Russian Federation. You might also want to concentrate on individual authors, and here are the 10 authors we currently offer for special study: Tsvetaeva, Petrushevskaya, Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, Chekhov, Pushkin, Gogol, Bulgakov, Mandelstam and Solzhenitsyn. And you may be familiar with some of the works of these authors, and you would have the chance to study them in great detail, to think about their works, their life, and to explore some of the significant criticism about them by a range of commentators. You might also take a special subject, such as a study of Russian drama, or a study of gender and representation in Russian culture. You might also elect to take a dissertation, which would allow you to explore a subject that you yourself had discovered and become interested in, possibly on your year abroad. And we're very flexible here about allowing you to really spread your wings and develop both the skills of independent research that the dissertation involves, and to explore things that haven't cropped up on the course so far. The students very often find that, in particular during their year abroad, something grabs their attention and they come back wanting to explore that in greater detail. So we study literature in great detail, and that is made possible by the efforts that go into teaching your linguistic skills and your command of the written, spoken language. But there are other things you can do in Oxford in addition to literature and language, and these are the non-literary subjects that we offer for finals. There are a large number of range of options in linguistics and philology. So linguistics involves the study of morphology, of syntax, phonetics, phonology, sociolinguistics, language acquisition, historical linguistics, dialectology, semantics, pragmatics, and many other things. You can also study philological papers, and this is a branch of linguistics dealing with the history of languages, the ancestry of families of languages, and the evidence for earlier stages of language history, and indeed the principles of language change over time. So whilst we are very famous for the literary skills that we teach our students here, it is also possible to develop an entirely new expertise in linguistics and philology if you're someone who's interested not just in learning languages, but in learning how they work and how we study them. And many students become fascinated by these subjects, even if they had never thought about studying them before they came here. So there's a range of options available: literary, linguistic, and also the study of the language itself. And all of these parts of the course reinforce the other parts. Reading in the original helps your language skills. Doing serious work on translation into and out of Russian may be informed by your historical study of the language itself. What about the year abroad then, which is something I've mentioned a few times? As I've said, it takes place in the second year for beginner students and in the third year for students in the post-A-level course, and it's a compulsory feature of both courses. Students on course B, the beginners, have no choice about what they do. They must spend the second year in Yaroslavl, living with a host family, studying on a specially devised course for Oxford students, and they come back with terrific language skills that enables them to go straight into the final honour school and achieve marks exactly comparable with the post-A-level students in finals. For students on course A, you have a far greater variety of possibilities. We give advice and share information with you in the second year about how to get to Russia, but also other Russian-speaking countries, and what you might do there. We take a survey of students coming into the final year to find out what they've done, and we share that with students embarking on their year abroad so that you're up to date with the latest information. And you can do a variety of things, provided it helps both your study of the Russian language and your understanding of Russian culture and society more generally. You may want to take a language course, particularly if you haven't been to Russia before and you welcome some support in travelling to the country and settling in for the first time. You might want to study at a Russian university, and we have connections with a large number of Russian universities across the Russian Federation where you may want to go and study, be it Russian or indeed other subjects available there. You might want to take a job subject to the restrictions imposed by the visa regime, or undertake a work placement, or perhaps do some volunteering. And again, we share information from what the most recent cohort of students has done with the next generation, so that you can be well informed about the possibilities and what's worked for different people, and how different people's needs and interests have been accommodated by the possibilities on offer. The only thing that matters is that you should immerse yourself in the Russian language, in Russian society, in Russian culture. And you should use this as a way of improving your command of the language, but also helping to understand your study of literary papers, of linguistics, of philology, of the things that you've been studying in Oxford. And your tutor will help you decide what the best thing for you is. We also give advice about how to apply for your visa, how to get travel insurance, how to keep safe and enjoy yourself while there. And these days it's very easy to keep in touch with you whilst on the year abroad. And some tutors will be asking for bits and pieces of written work while you're there. We'll be talking to you about the things you'll be studying in the final year, perhaps advising you on a dissertation that you will study in the final year. So the year abroad does a lot of work. And there's a great deal of flexibility for the post-A-level course about how you go about arranging that year abroad. Even for those on the course B, dedicated course in Yaroslavl for former beginners, we also help advise you about what you'll be doing when you come back to Oxford. So if you're interested in applying to read Russian or indeed any other Slavonic language here at Oxford, what do you need to do? Well, we're helped by having a large variety of information about you. We have the UCAS form, including your personal statement, achieved and predicted grades, and your school reference. Your personal statement is helpful for us in getting a sense of what you understand about the course, what your interests are, and what your preparedness for that course is. But we also have some written work. Typically, this is a piece of marked classwork done in each language you plan to study here at Oxford, and also a piece of marked writing in English, perhaps a study of some literary texts, a piece of historical writing, or another subject you're studying at school, just something to give us a sense of how you make an argument and how you express yourself on the page. Any questions, please do contact us and we can give particular advice. We also have the language test that is taken in school in preparation for interview in each language you intend to study here. If you are applying to study language from scratch, a beginner's language, you obviously can't take a language test in that language. Instead, there's a language aptitude test for those beginners courses. Now, this test aims to assess your aptitude for the study, in this case, of Russian. The other language tests assess your grasp of the basic grammar of the languages you've been studying to A-level and that you want to study here at Oxford. It's not a test of tricky vocabulary, it's not trying to catch you out, it's just trying to give us a sense of where you are. And there are specimen language tests and language aptitude tests online for you to practice. Once you come for interview, and we typically presume to invite to interview almost all candidates who apply, and there are very clear criteria which would justify us not calling you for interview. When here, you would typically have 2 interviews, one in each language you apply for, or if you're applying for one of the 2 degrees, the joint degrees, you'd be interviewed by tutors in both subject areas. Now, in the Russian interview, you would be asked typically about your reading, about your interest in and understanding of the culture of the relevant country, the work that you have submitted, perhaps. You'll also be given the opportunity to speak in the foreign language if you've studied it to A-level, and you may well be given a passage to read either in the language or in English to discuss with the tutors. Some people ask about the college they should apply for. There's not much I should say here other than that you should check that the college you want to apply for offers Russian and that it offers Russian in the combination you're interested in. If you're contemplating a gap year, please check with the admissions tutor of that college to check that the college welcomes deferred entry. And do note that if you apply to one college, you may be reallocated to another college or interviewed by another college during the admissions process. This is a scheme which allows us to spread out the applications equitably across the university. Ultimately, I would say it doesn't matter. Most people love the college they find themselves in and can never imagine studying in another one. Moreover, students of Russian are very mobile in Oxford. You'll be going regularly to the faculty for language classes and visiting tutors in other colleges depending on the subjects you choose to study whilst here. So you'll certainly get around. What are we after? We want to see a good command of the basic grammar of the language or languages that you are studying at A-level and intend to study to degree level. In some cases, there's also a commitment to acquiring that command by taking a gap year and extending a study of a language you've done that way. We want to see an interest in literature, language, or linguistics, potentially also things like film and other forms of culture. We don't expect formal study of literature to be a part of what you may have studied to A-level or equivalent, but we want to see a strong interest in and motivation for, as well as aptitude for, a study of that. So even if you haven't done much or any literature as part of your A-level course, you're not at a disadvantage. We, your interviewers, will be trying to discover whether you read naturally, independently, intelligently, perceptively, and that you can talk about what you've read in ways that perhaps give us a sense that you'll thrive in the tutorial environment. So please do read widely and read in the original if you feel comfortable with it, but also read books in English and books in English translation too, to give you a sense of the kind of works of literature you might well study here. How should you prepare? Well, it goes without saying that you should revise the basic grammar of the languages you want to study post A-level. Try to read books in the foreign language or in English translation. Go see films or plays by them if that's possible, particularly these days online too. And think about what you've seen or read and ask yourself what you liked or disliked and why, what you may have learned from it, why you like one thing more than another, and whether there's anything common in the books that you have read or the films that you have seen. And be prepared to talk about them and engage in intelligent discussion about them. But what about life after Oxford? What can you do with your degree in Russian, or Czech with Slovak, or Polish? Employers love modern linguists for their wide range of transferable skills. That includes, evidently, their linguistic skills, but it also includes your ability to read and dissect complex literary texts, or to analyse a language historically or analytically, if you've been drawn to the linguistic and philological options on offer here. You will acquire excellent skills of oral presentation, both through the tutorial discussions about literature with your tutors, but also through your language work with our native speakers. You'll develop skills of writing that are very important still in the world of work. But there are other benefits, particularly to the study of modern foreign languages. Linguists are seen, and with good reason, as mature, open-minded, adventurous and daring. You will have lived and studied abroad for a year, gaining important skills of cultural understanding, of empathy, and perhaps also of resilience. You will stand out for these reasons, and if you study Russian or Czech with Slovak and Polish, you'll stand out as having done something that's perceived as difficult or unusual. These are languages which aren't always widely spoken and make you stand out in a competitive field. So what can you do once you leave Oxford? Well, do check out our website, The Adventures on the Bookshelf, where you'll find large numbers of testimonies of students, what they've done on the year abroad, what they've enjoyed here, and what they've gone on to do with the subjects that they've studied here. Many have gone on to teach in schools using sometimes the languages that they've learned here and enthusing and inspiring the next generation of applicants to Oxford. Many have gone on to academic research, some in Slavonic studies, in literature, but also in history and in linguistics and philology. But many people have decided to change direction and gone into things like politics, international relations, or law. Others have changed direction entirely. One student that I know has gone on to train as a picture restorer, learning skills acquired during the year abroad when working in an icon workshop. So your Russian can take you in many unexpected directions of further study. Many students feel the great need to return to Russia or to go to other Russian-speaking countries, working in business, but also working in the charitable sector, working for NGOs and doing voluntary work. Many go into the world of politics, to the world of diplomacy, into the civil service, frequently using their language skills. But what you will find is that once you've demonstrated an ability to learn a hard language, such as Russian, Polish, Czech, Slovak, you'll be asked to take on a yet harder language, and the world will open up to you in perhaps unexpected ways. Many have gone into journalism, writing about contemporary events, politics, society, and commenting on events that take place around the world, not just in Russia and Eastern Europe. But many have gone into arts journalism and used the literary skills and the cultural skills that they've developed and honed whilst here in Oxford by writing about the world of culture and the arts. Many have used their linguistic skills by becoming interpreters and translators, particularly at the UN, where Russian is one of the working languages, but elsewhere too. And many have gone on to build on their Russian skills or their Czech or their Polish skills to acquire other Slavonic languages in which they can become proficient interpreters and translators. Many have used their languages and their international experience in the world of law, in consultancy, in banking, and in the city. Some have developed the sideline that they had during their time in Oxford to go into the world of theatre, the world of the creative arts, the world of performance and of music. Many students, whilst here, act, direct, and write, and go on to do that in their future careers, sometimes bringing their linguistic knowledge to bear on what they do and helping them to work around the world and in these other foreign languages. Some have gone on to careers in stand-up comedy too, be it in Russian or, even more excitingly, the other languages that they acquire. So you can do almost anything with a degree in a modern foreign language, and particularly the languages we offer here in the subfaculty of Russian and other Slavonic languages will take you that bit further in your adventures around the world. So thank you for your time. We hope that the presentation has answered at least some of your questions and given you things to think about. We very much look forward to seeing you in person just as soon as we can, and wish you good luck with whatever it is you decide to do at university next. And please do take time to follow the links on this final slide, which will give further information about the courses and on offer here and the people who research and teach here. Thank you very much indeed.